Hey guys, and welcome back to Let's Build a Steampunk City, Episode 6. Now today, we're going to be building our airship dock. I must say, you guys are in for a treat. I got a little carried away with this build, and I think it's one of the better builds I've done, period. And one thing I did off camera that Dr. Cheesecake went ahead and recommended is I went in and threw on some gears at the top of our fortress, so you could tell that that top part of the fortress, the gun part, actually could move. And another thing you can notice is our steampunk airship from the first episode has been pasted in, hovering over our city. And then, as we do with every other build, we begin to outline what the foundation of the structure is going to look like. Now, this airship dock is where commercial, industrial, and even military vessels will go ahead and make port if they want to visit the city. The original concept for this build was just going to be a giant spire, similar to the size and scale of the clock tower, and from there there'd be some platforms jutting out from it where the ships would make port. However, I thought a traditional spire like that would be too similar to our clock tower, and we're also going to have another central spire in the city. So I decided to go for a theme that sort of looks like a airport. So have that elongated structure where on either side of it, spaced out, will be multiple gates where the vessels will stop and make port. The structure is going to have two main buildings. The first one built within the city limits, and the second one outside in the water. And they'll be connected, of course, by a bridge and the gate platform sort of thing. And I want to, reiterate that this is a steampunk city, so I'm adding in those gears so people know that, this looks a little techy, as if it's not already techy being in an airship port. Like I said before, the original concept was for this tower to be super tall, so I decided to take it a different way. Instead of being super tall, this first building is going to be rather short, and it's only going to have these two-tiered platform, the first one being chunkier and the second one being this thin. I was going to add some more gears into there, but I thought it might be a little repetitive, so I decided just to leave it with a black background behind that carve-in. And then to detail the top of our first platform, I decided to add these corner adornments, which are these mini structures, and they have their own roofs separate to the normal platform part. And I didn't want a flat face on the front of that roof, so I decided to add a little triangle window in there. And then it's time to repeat that corner adornment on all four sides. So as of right now, we still need to construct the normal port, the governor's house, the central spire, which pretty much will be the governmental building where all the city rulers will conduct their business. And then also maybe I'll do an observatory if I can get the telescope to look natural, not weird. Those are all my ideas so far as to what's going to the city. If you want to see something else before all the territory gets filled up, drop it in the comments. And then our roof, just like the factory and the marketplaces, is that peaked roof with being crowned in marble. Now we're moving on to the second structure. The second structure pretty much is going to be just a larger version of the first one. And because this structure sits on water, I want to have sort of columns that act as support struts, similar to what you would find how a harbor sits on the water, or even some houses, that are in the North Carolina, South Carolina region, which are built on those stilts to prevent flood damage. So that's what I'm going for on this structure. And then I just had to create various pillars to just fill in the rest of the bottom of the building to support it up. And that's pretty much the bottom part of this tower done. Moving on to the next part, which is actually going to be the top, where I'm just copying and pasting sections of the first one on top of it. And then we're going to change up these gears. Instead of gears, we're going to add the turrets similar to what we had on the fortress build. So, you know, if there's an enemy airship trying to make port at this harbor, it can shoot out those enemy ships. And then I went ahead and copy and pasted it again below it, and this time I'm keeping with that gear theme instead of using the airship guns. And I'm adding the sort of same crowned effect on the corners that we did on the top part of the roof, but jutting out instead of the second tier, I guess that is. And this section will pretty much replicate the top roof part, just slightly bigger. And with that copy and pasted on all four sides of our building, the second building is finally complete, standing roughly twice as tall as the first one. And now we're moving on to the main platform where all of our airships will dock into. Because this platform sticks out so much from our second building, there's going to have to be columns that will end up supporting this platform. And as long as it was, I still wasn't satisfied. I thought it was too short, so I went ahead and extended it even further. So this platform is going to be able to dock 2 airships on either side of it and 1 large one at the end. So it's going to be able to have 5 airships docked onto it at a single given moment. And then putting in those columns I was talking about. These ones are a lot bigger than the ones supporting the second building. They're 3 by 3, some of the biggest columns I've ever done in a Let's Build. Now you may be wondering what that black wood is on the platform for. It's to mark out where this crowning effect is going to be going on our platform. And every other one of these platform effects is going to be a gate where the airship can dock up to. So it's going to go crown effect, gate, like that. The 2 crowning effects that sit above the columns, that is where the actual gate connection is going to be going for our airships. So our platform, clearly, you can tell, is going to have railings because you don't want kids falling off, especially at this high altitude where wind can be especially strong. On top of that, literally on top of that, we're putting a roof. A bad pun. So, you know, our patrons won't get rained on when it decides to rain in the city. Now we're detailing the column. This is a super big column. It's not even a 3 by 3, which I said before. It's a 4 by 4. It's massive. Now that pretty much allows us to carve in, adding this crowning effect, and this won't be the only thing supporting our platform. There's also going to be a sort of arch effect, you know, as you would see in a normal bridge between the columns supporting the structure. And now we're moving on to the short bridge side of that connects the 2 buildings together. So I'm just copying a section of that normal platform and bringing it over down here, rotating it, pasting it in appropriately, and then filling in the gaps. Now I'm going to begin working on that arch effect I talked about earlier, because there's a little too much blank space and it adds some nice detail to the build. It makes it look chunkier, and it actually makes practical sense too, for once. And this arch effect is not too thick, instead it's 4 thick. This allows me to carve into it, adds an extra layer to it, so it can give a little more depth, so I can detail this arch more than just having a plain old quartz arch. And then because I'm lazy, I'm just going to copy and paste it over. And I'm carving in, as I said before, and I'm adding in the stone slabs, similar to the design, well, mimicking the design that the columns have, where that carved in layer is that stone slab, to sort of show that, you know, these arches match the columns and they're one and the same. And now I'm just detailing the bridge platform thing, adding stairs instead of just normal marble or normal quartz blocks to, you know, give a little depth to it. On these larger arches compared to the smaller ones, it was a lot harder to get that natural curve effect. It took a couple of iterations to go back and forth with until I was happy with the design. When I got it right, I began to layer it up, carve it in, and match the theme of the columns in the previous arches. There's one thing I forgot to do for this build. Unlike the two main tower structures, these bridge platforms don't have any lighting. I completely forgot to put it in. So, I mean, that's not too big of a problem. A couple of torches can fix that, but I did forget. Now we're working on the end cap, and this is where another ship is going to be able to make port, and this is ideally where a large capital ship would be able to connect to, not to take up too much space. And the other 4 gate connections are going to be where smaller airships will connect to. Now doing the final bit of the build, which is just the little platform that comes out from the gate where the airship can connect to without coming too close to the main structure. As we say, it's just a tiny little arch, simple design. This is where the airships will connect to. Off camera, I went ahead and added in some airships to make the structure look a little more lively and add a little more skybox to our city. And with that, we're done with the build. If you liked the build, drop a like. If you want to see more, go ahead and subscribe. We're not done yet. There's more to come. And I'll see you guys next time. Bye.